Burleson returning from injury and winning, I think that's even beyond your expectations.
Absolutely. To stay in the series, I needed to be either first or second today, and I knew today was a make it or break it. You guys allow us 4 throwaways. I got 4 zeros and a 4th place finish from when I did get injured. So kind of did the math and figured if I win the final 7 rounds, I'll win the series by 1 point. If I take a second place, we'll tie, but I'll have more wins, so hopefully go to me. So now the pressure was on. It was pretty tough. The doctor told me you can kind of ride, just don't crash. Oh man, I crashed. So we got the crash test done, but thank God I was only going 2 miles per hour. So, but it was wild. I got stuck a lot, and I didn't try to worry too much where the other girls were. I just tried to keep going. And man, I wanted to quit so bad after the first lap, but I am so glad I didn't quit. I am just so glad I didn't quit, because when I came around on the second lap and the board showed that I was in first when I knew I was in third previously, I was like, wow, one more lap, just one more lap. 8 miles has never felt so long in my life. Oh my gosh. So I'm just glad it's over. This was for the doctor and for the job, not for the fun today. This is pretty tough on me, so I think I'll go take some Tylenol and watch the pros get beat for a while.
The Wiseco John Penton GNCC. It's round number 7 of America Series. And of course, this is the 2005 Suzuki Grand National Cross Country Championship. A special thanks to all of our proud sponsors, including Parts Unlimited, Moose Racing, FMF, Wiseco Piston, Klotz Performance Lubricants, also Maxxis Tire, and many, many more folks that make up over $1.3 million in off-road factory contingencies, and the largest off-road factory contingency program in the off-road racing world. You obviously had a good day, and being from the Ohio area, obviously you're no stranger to the mud here in southeastern Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Ohio, you either learn how to ride mud or you find another sport.
Now, there's no doubt about that. And of course, with the mud that we've got here, they say it's different than in almost any mud in the world on the planet. A lot of clay out there, and we take a look at that bike, and it looks like a lot of that's packed inside that KTM.
Yeah, you know, I mean, the big thing was being smart. It got really ruddy and keeping your momentum, keeping rolling. That was a big part of it, because that was probably my big key there after the first lap, was just getting through all the bottlenecks. I mean, you'd come up to a section, there'd be 10, 15 guys sitting there, you know, waiting for their turn to get stuck, and I was able to sneak through some places, and it worked out really good. My 200 KTM, I mean, that thing worked awesome today.
Track overall, tell us what it's like. I know looking at some of the areas right here close to the pits, like the motocross track, that uphill section just after the finish line itself, this field leading up to the finish, none of that looks really bad. It actually looks like it's starting to shape up. Is that not a real indication of what these pros have got to be faced with this afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, actually, there's some of the section of the track that's just awesome. I mean, but anything out here in the sun that's high up that is drained, you just have so much traction, it's fantastic. But the majority of the course is pretty rutted and slippery and sloppy, and yeah, this is, don't let this part out here fool you. This is, when you get to these parts, grab your drink system, get a drink, catch your breath, because, buddy, it's pack your lunch for the rest of it.
I guarantee you, I know that we've got a lot of folks working their way around the track right now, and obviously you didn't seem to find much problem, but where do you think that maybe some of your competitors like Burleson and Glasso and those guys in that sportsman's class were having problems?
There was actually the hills. There's a hill right after and a mud hole right after the punch check back here. The mud hole is really nasty, and then we've got those power line hills that are really ugly. And then back over in here, there were some really tricky hills that you'd be down in the creek, and they'd have to turn and come up out of them. And if you didn't get a run and hit it perfect, you weren't going to make it.
Now, in comparison, going back, and we've been talking about you being 4-time Blackwater champ and all that stuff, and, you know, today, by today's standards, this is pretty gnarly out there, you know, with the ruts and so forth. But going back to the old Blackwater days, how does this compare into something like that?
This is actually, you know, from a ride standpoint, it's probably a little tougher. The Blackwater had sections that were just really difficult, and you had to be smart and pick good lines. If you didn't pick good lines with Blackwater, I mean, you'd be buried and could be there for a week or until the next year. Where this one is just more constant, it's just jump in a rut and go, where Blackwater was more decision making. So
obviously a lot faster pace nowadays than what used to be, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was fast back then too. I mean, don't let me kid you, Ed Lojack, that guy, he didn't let you win races easy. It was, you know, the speed was there. It was just different because all our races were 100 miles. I mean, I never finished the Blackwater in under 5 hours. So now, I mean, these guys ride for 3 hours. That's easy.
So big change there. But Mark, glad to have you up here on the podium. And in all honesty, I have something here for you. I did have anyway. And this is a medallion for your efforts here today, courtesy of course, your friends at KTM, and this being KTM Fun Weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together right here for the Whites Coat John Penton GNCC champion, Mr. Mark Hyde.
Also, too, any of you guys are here, you get a chance, go over and say hi to John Penton. That guy is a legend in the sport. He's up there right near the finish line. And I grew up about an hour and a half for those guys, and watching that guy, build the motorcycle. And I rode Pentons at the time, and his, to meet the guy whose name was on my motorcycle. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I mean, there wouldn't be a Juha Solomon and a Mike Lafferty, a Rodney Smith. Those guys, John, he basically got off-road going in the United States. And to get the chance to meet a guy like John Penton is just spectacular. And he's the friendliest, nicest guy you'll ever meet. And like I said, everybody at KTM, I mean, I want to thank everybody here to come down and put in great effort. And after this today, I mean, I really got to give the kids a hand from yesterday, because if they made it through that, those kids are tough.
No doubt about that. Anybody else you want to send a shout out to?
Oh, I really like I said, KTM, Mirai helmets, Smith goggles got a big use today. Dunlop tires, Moose off-road, Motor X oil, the whole gang. I think the big thing was, being from around here, I've ridden this place a lot of times. I knew kind of where the trouble stuff was. And when, I got through the sections good, I kept my momentum up and picked good lines and just didn't get hung up.
Yeah, Dick and I were pretty close. We were back and forth all day long, and I saw him in the last lap, and I just played it smart, and I got around him, and I rode smart the rest of the race.
Tell us what the track was like out there.
Oh, it was ugly.
That's just as simple as you can put it, ugly. Lots of ruts and things of that nature?
One rut the whole way around.
Is that right? So from the start, you get off to a good start and everything?
Yeah, I was probably about 4th or 5th off the start, trying to protect my goggles so I could see for the first 2 laps. And after that, just stole out.
Now, you were riding in the sportsman's class?
Yes, I was.
Where are you from?
Allison Park, Pennsylvania.
And what do you do?
I am a developer.
Motorcycle. That's why they're good. But really, you wouldn't have the equipment you have today if it wasn't for fellas like Mark and Dick and a lot of other of my old riders. They were the ones, and my sons, that helped me develop the bike. Everybody thought I was great. I knew how to build a bike. They were the ones that showed me how to build it. I was just a messenger that argued with Europe to build it. And my heart goes out to these fellows like you can't believe it.